Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have, well, to be honest, I've been extraordinarily looking forward to this one for a while. We're going to do a complete and total Xbox One controller teardown, rebuild, repair, and we're going to mod this controller to the absolute max. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this one. I got it on eBay. It is in terrible, disgusting, gross condition, so it's definitely going to need a reclean. We're going to do that. The eBay seller said that it had some control stick issues. It wouldn't click, it wouldn't read properly. That's no problem. We're going to swap those out. Also said it had some shoulder button issues. That's no problem. We're gonna swap those guys out. We are going to clean the faceplate up, install a new back cover. We're going to install trigger limit switches for these guys right here. And we are going to change our LED lights up. And finally, we are going to install a mod chip for this guy. We are going to be converting these analog sticks over to the Xbox Elite controller style with the pull-offs. I am literally waiting for Amazon to show up, showing out for delivery, so it should be here shortly. Certainly by the time this video is over, we're going to throw those in. The first thing we're going to do, though, we're going to take this thing apart, and I'm going to show you how to go about doing that the quick and easy way. You can grab a hold of these side panels right here and pry. Don't rip. You just want to lift and pry that way, just a little bit. Okay. Get your fingernails underneath there and lift a little bit. A little bit of pressure, not a lot. We're not trying to break them. Set those guys aside. Now, inside we've got several Torx bits. So let me grab the right one of those. So I built one of these for myself several months ago. The T10 is going to be way too big. We're going to double check it. I believe these are T8s. Should be this guy. Wrong one. Third time. Nope, that's going to be too big. Nope, that's it right there. So this is definitely, without a doubt, a T9. Sorry, correction, not a T8. I built one of these for myself several months ago and really enjoyed building it. Went all out top to bottom on it. Just had a blast. And then I thought, I was running out. I've done several Sega Genesises, and I've done several. I've done some Nintendo stuff and some Game Gears and whatnot on my channel, and repaired some cartridges. But what I haven't done is really mod anything yet, and that was something that's definitely missing from my channel. It's something that I do quite frequently. So I wanted to show you guys how to do it. You've got these 4 screws, and then there is a hidden screw right here in the middle. Now, you guys have heard me talk about him a lot on my channel, and it's John the Jerk. Okay, John the Jerk pokes a hole through the middle of this, destroys the sticker, and you can obviously tell that someone has been in there. Let me show you a better way. Get you a very sharp pair of tweezers or a very sharp knife, and you want to pick away at this corner right here till you can just get underneath it. We're not trying to rip, not trying to pull, we're just lifting him a little bit. We can get a better set of tweezers underneath it. Just like this right here. And we're just going to gently walk this sticker off the edge. We're not even going to completely remove him. Okay? And there's our last and final screw for the case right there. Now what all these screws do, they go all the way through the case and all the way through the shell, and they actually hold on the faceplate. So if you ever need to know how to get a faceplate off, those screws, don't forget about the one in the middle. I'm going to set him aside. He needs a thorough clean. Okay, we're going to start with our thumbsticks because they are gross. Take those guys off. They just pull straight up. We're going to pull the entire back of it off. The shell comes right out. We're going to set him aside. We will not be reusing that back shell, and we're going to not reuse him because our mod chip needs a button. And the controller back that we're going to be using is this guy. We'll be drilling a small hole somewhere in it. And when we do, we need to... We want a nice clean back. This thing's gunky and nasty. We just want something nice and clean to install. So this is it. This is from Extreme Rate. Started buying their stuff several years ago. I say several years ago, a long time ago, and I've really enjoyed everything that I've ever bought from them. Is great quality. I can't speak enough good things about it. So if you're looking for good controller stuff, that's a good place to start. This is also one other thing I want to make sure you understand. This is the Model 1708, and you guys are not going to be able to see that on screen. This is a Model 1708. Most of the mods that you're going to find online are for a Model 1708. You want to pay real close attention when you're purchasing. I don't care whether it's thumbsticks, I don't care what it is. You want to be real careful and make sure that you get the correct part for your Xbox controller. They make them for all sorts of them. It doesn't matter which one you got. They've just about got every mod available for it. You want to make sure you get the right ones. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our top center section, and here's how we do this. We want to squeeze our triggers down, and right here we just want to lift up and push away. And same thing on this side, but we just want to lift up and push away, and our top center section will come off. Now this next section houses the sync button, so we're going to be careful with him. Again, we lift up and we pull him away. Our sync button pulls straight out the top. Set him aside, and we can flip this board over. Now, the left and right triggers, okay, are spring loaded. To change these trigger covers out is no problem at all. There's just a pin, but it does require a little bit of desoldering. What you're going to see is on this board, you have two sets of solder points on each side. The grays are going to be for your motors, and the reds are for your upper motors, and the reds are going to be, red and black is going to be for your bottom motor. Let's talk about orientation. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter which side goes to what. However, because we're astute and we pay attention, we want these going back in the right way. So we're going to save ourselves all sorts of trouble here. What we're going to do is we're going to take our soldering iron, and we are going to very quickly desolder our red and our black wire from this motor. Pull him out. We're going to set him on. That is technically the right side, but since we are working upside down, that is the left side of the board. From us, we're going to desolder our gray wire, our black wire for our upper motor. We're going to flip our board over. Remember, gray wire's on top, black wire's on bottom. Ground is always going to be the black wire for these motors, and they are always on the bottom. And that is pretty much universal across all, I say pretty much, that is completely universal across all of the Xbox controller revisions. We're going to set that motor up there. Now, we've got a little bit of Kapton tape right here, and we've got our, that goes into our Bluetooth module. Now, the wire for this goes over the Kapton tape here. Take you a pair of tweezers just underneath the edge and just lift up a little bit, he should pop right off. If not, give him a slight wiggle and lift straight up. You don't want to snatch and yank. You want to lift up nice and gentle. All this is Kapton tape, and we're going to pull him all the way out of the way, set him aside. We may put him back on, we may not, haven't decided yet. We may switch it out. The reason I say I haven't decided yet, we may switch him out to we may put all new Kapton tape on it. Now we're going to remove our bottom board, and this is a T6, are these screws, our board lower. The lower board on this controller, okay, the lower board is what houses your communications as far as your Bluetooth and the communications with that. It also houses the B button for the ABXY. B button is on this bottom board. Once we're done with that, we're going to just lift up nice and gentle, right in the middle. Okay, and you'll see on this board your connector is here. Also, your headphone jack is right there as well. Okay, so we're going to take this for now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to replace our analog sticks. Okay. Now, there's a lot of different ways that people can go about doing this. I'm going to show you the easy way, and the easy way requires a desoldering gun. Now, I will say this, before we get carried away with anything, we're going to grab a toothbrush and some isopropyl. We're going to clean this guy up. Now that we got our isopropyl and our toothbrushes, we're going to apply a liberal amount of our isopropyl alcohol to our board, and we're going to clean them up. I notice there's a lot of hair, and I say hair, pet hair. This obviously came from a pet home. It's not a huge deal, won't necessarily hurt anything, but it's much easier to work on a clean board than a dirty board, and so since we're here, we'll clean them up. Get rid of all of this junk all the way around the board. I'm not going to go too nuts on cleaning these analog switches. Normally I would, but again, we are literally fixing to take them right off the board, so I'm not super concerned about it. Okay, that's all pretty gross. Grab very quickly. I always keep a little dust buster handy for when I'm doing one of these. Okay. First things first, we're going to remove the analog sticks off of this. And we're going to start, in order to properly remove our analog sticks and make our life a little bit easier all the way around the board, we're going to apply some flux to where these analog sticks go in. We're going to apply some fresh solder. This is not a necessity. This is makes life a little bit easier for us. We're not worried about making a bridge or anything. We're just, when they make these boards in the factory, they don't use leaded solder, and it takes a little bit more heat and a little bit more work to get a non-leaded solder out of the board. I don't care if there's a bridge. I'm not worried about it at all at this particular point. Not worried about making beautiful joints. I'm just preheating these joints, flowing them. We're going to clean all this up. Put me in that new brass ball in, and it is being a little bit of a pain for my soldering iron. It hasn't stickied up yet. Now, a lot of this work we're going to do here in a few minutes once we get these triggers changed out and we get the thumbsticks changed out. A lot of this is going to be done under a microscope. So you guys will get a nice tight view of that. But for what we're doing right now, we're removing these, and these will probably be one of the last things that we put back in. Because it's a little bit easier to work with the board without these analog sticks in here. And so to make our life a little bit easier, we're going to just remove them and not worry about putting them back in just yet. I can't tell you how much time I've spent fighting to get these out without a desoldering gun. You can do it with a solder pump. You can do it with solder braid. I assure you, if you do it with those, you will fight these. They will be aggravating. You will absolutely hate life. So it's better, if you have a desoldering gun, to use it. If you don't, what I recommend doing is braid and a pump and lots of patience. I put off buying a desoldering gun for a long time. It wasn't a money issue. It was just that's stubborn. I don't need that. I don't need that. I can do it without that. I don't need that. And I finally broke down. I think I was watching one of Voltar's videos, and he was talking about his Hakko on there and how much that it had really changed the way that he worked on stuff. And I remember thinking, I don't know that I'll ever do that. That's really cool. I'd like to have one, but I don't know. And then I finally broke down and bought it, and then went, and the first time I used it, I went, wow, this is a completely different experience. So if you don't have one, or you're putting off buying one, don't hesitate. They are worth, you don't need, if you're just doing your own home repairs and stuff like that, you don't need the most expensive one on the market at all by any stretch of the imagination. You don't need a $200 Hakko or $300 Hakko. Yahiwa makes a great little desoldering gun. It's the perfect price. About $100, $130, give or take. Will get you a great desoldering iron. Last a long time. They're probably, I'm going to be perfectly honest, it's not a Hakko, it's not a Porsche, but it is incredibly effective. Does a great job. You're probably going to have to clean it just a little bit more. I like it. I'm very happy with mine. I don't see it. I've yet to run across anything that it would not remove. Little tip though on when you're desoldering is a whole lot different than soldering. And while I tend to run my soldering iron pretty warm compared to what some other people do, perhaps I just work a little bit faster than they do. I run mine in the neighborhood. Sorry about that. Just taking a look before I go snatching this off and making sure everything's as clean. Oh, nope, there's the one I missed. I always miss this guy right in the middle. I run my soldering iron at about 384 to 385 C. In that neighborhood. Some people don't like to run that hot. Some people will run a little bit warmer, give or take one way or the other. But at any rate, sorry about that. I like to run mine nice and warm. Now, having said that, my desoldering iron is currently set at 412. I like that. 412 seems like another good solid round number. So that's what I run mine at. So to take the covers off these shells. They're held in by one screw and a side clip. And for cleaning purposes, we're going to remove those. Now the motor will oftentimes want to stay with the analog, or the thumbstick, or the, you know what I mean, the trigger. That's no big deal if it does. It will eventually stay with the board. Just keep backing away nice and gentle. Remember, it's a rotate down and away because it's got a little hook on it. Here's the other thing I'll say. Inside of the ends of these are magnets. And so how these triggers work is they work against Hall effect sensors, okay, which are these two little guys right here on this board. And the closer the magnet is, the stronger the magnetic field, which means you pull the trigger further down. That's how those work. Do not lose these out of here, because you absolutely can, and then you're in for a fight. Okay? So that's pretty much our inner shell disassembled. We're going to set him aside. We don't need him right now. We're just rounding up all these plastics first. And then we're going to go ahead and desolder these shoulder buttons and put them back in. And I'm going to take all this stuff over and soak it. Word of caution when washing, cleaning, scrubbing, whatever. This Xbox home button, you can't buy these. Okay? You can't buy them. I've tried. No one sells them. If somebody starts selling these, please, dear God, give me a call, because I will buy 1,000,000 of them from you. What ends up happening, and it took me a while to notice that it was me doing it. I would put these, and they can be disassembled. There's a little tab right here. You can lift this up and take the little white X off, or whatever color yours happens to be. But what ends up happening is you put these in soap or water, and it gets underneath this silver color here, and it completely, like, I've got some of them where a whole side's missing or something else. The best way to clean these, the very best way, is, again, a drop of isopropyl and a brush, and that is all that you need to do to it. Do not wash these in soap and water. Do not do what you're going to do with all the rest of your buttons, and you're going to throw them in a bin and get them all wet at one time and scrub them all down with your brush. Don't do that. Just a drop of isopropyl and a small soft brush. You're good to go. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is remove these two shoulder buttons here. These are for our upper shoulder buttons, and according to the seller, these did not work either. They don't look like they've been pulled before, so that's fine. All right, so first thing we're going to do, of course, as we always do, we're going to add a little bit of flux. And a little bit of fresh solder. And again, we don't even care if we're bridging anything. We don't care if they're the prettiest. We're not trying to make beautiful solder joints. We're trying to heat up that non-leaded solder and get a little bit of a mix with some leaded solder to soften it up and make those easier to pull. Now with these guys, occasionally one side of these legs will be more stuck than the other. No big deal. Remember, they've got a great big huge heat ground plane to attach to. We're not going to pull him out. I could. He's loose enough. He'll come out. The legs are bent on it. I'm going to go ahead and get this one ready to remove too. and gently pushing this guy out, and I'll show you why. These legs, if I can pull this up here and get it in a good view, have a slight little bend in right here, and they grab a hold to the board, and don't let that shoulder button fall out. So now we have to find our proper shoulder button, which I grabbed a bunch of them because there's a couple of different styles, and I've got them all. I'm just trying to remember where I set them. I'll put them all the way over here. No. Yep, right there. So there are the white face buttons, and then there are the ones that are blackface. They are nearly identical in every way, and I'll take one out so you can see it. They work the same. They're physically the same height. The only difference between these two are that the black ones are a harder click, and so what you'll notice is, depending on which one of these you have in your console, and also the shield on the white one, oh, I dropped it. The shield on the white one is only on the back, and it's almost plastic riveted through, whereas the black one, the shield wraps around the whole face versus sitting on the back. Does it make a difference inside the console? No. Will it change a thing? No. However, when Microsoft switched over to the next revision, and they went to these black switches, they also put a little piece of rubber behind it. Do not lose that piece of rubber if you're taking yours apart. It is for support against the board to hold these in place and make sure they don't come loose. All right, so we've got those guys sitting right there. Some of these new. Well, one of them has to be new, and one of them has to be old. Or maybe both of those are new. Tell you what, I am not 100% sure. Oh, no, that's a blackface button. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. Those will be fine. So then, if that's a blackface button, then I know this one's good to go. I can slot him back in. Now, these are not designed to go as far down as you think they go, but they will drop all the way down. So we got rid of him. We'll put him up here with those bad components. There we go. And we will solder these guys back in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solder my anchor points. And then I'm going to solder in my component legs. Now the reason you want to do that is because your anchor points are your strongest point, and if you have to put any pressure, you don't want to accidentally bend a component leg or damage the component at all. Cool. All right. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to switch out this center LED. There's only one on this board. The Xbox 360s had the ring. This only has the one in the middle. It's a little bit larger package than what we have, but again, that won't hurt a thing. So all we have to do is choose a color. Now, I can tell you this. This is all white and gray. The original LED is white. So, blue, yellow, green, white, or red. Well, I've already got white, so I'm definitely not going to use white. Yellow, nah, I don't really like yellow. I'll tell you what, let's do blue. I like blue. Blue or red? Blue or red? Blue or red? What do we think? Blue or red? Let's do blue. See, that was easy. So the first thing we're going to do is peel this little strip back and drop out one of our IC chips, one of our LED chips. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a real close look at this board. I'm going to grab my microscope real quick. I'm going to set my LED chip out. Move everything out of my way, because this is tiny. I always recommend anytime you are fixing to work with a very small package, very small component, whatever it is, get everything comfortable exactly where you want it, because you are most likely only going to get one shot at this, more often than not. All right. Now, what we can see in our board, if we pay close attention, okay, is we can see in our board a tiny white dot right there. Okay. Now, that white dot right there indicates negative. And if we remember, if you've ever looked at one of my videos before, the videos where I've done Xbox 360, this little guy right here, and let me move him up here where you guys can see it. Zoom just right. Has. Let me set him down. And instead of fighting with this, do it this way. There you go. Okay. Has a little bitty triangle on it. And that arrow faces towards ground. So the pointy part of the arrow that's facing, okay, the pointy side of it, points towards ground. So we just want to remember that as we do this. So we're going to set this LED chip right there. Now, how do we remove this? Well, with this guy, with this particular board, you have to be a little bit careful, because you have your sides of your LED that are soldered on are here and over here. And if you're not super duper careful, okay, super duper careful, you can damage these copper traces, or these carbon traces that go around. This is what makes the home button work. And we do not want to damage those no matter what we do. So we have to be a little bit careful with this. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to prop my board down there, rotate till I can just see what I'm doing. And we're going to apply some flux, plenty of flux. Now, there's a couple of different paths you can go about this. The first path we're going to try is directly heating and removing. If that doesn't work very quickly, then we're going to back off and we're going to use some solder to help us remove. And there you go. She's free. Now, you can see our two pads on our board. Okay, we didn't damage anything. We are going to give them a quick clean. And then we're going to re-tin those. And we're going to drop our new chip on. Okay. Okay, we're going to re-tin these two pads right here. Put some fresh leaded solder on so our new chip flows really easily. There we go, just like that. So remembering where our little white dot is, this guy right here, add a little bit of flux. Remembering our little arrow indicator has to face towards the little white dot, we're going to very carefully grab a hold of our chip, make sure she's facing the correct direction. This is another one of those, you only get one shot at this, making sure it's set just right. So take your time. And make sure you're good to go. And once you get your chip where you want it, your component where you want it, tack him down. Don't worry if it's not set level yet. Tack him down. Tack the other side. And let me get right down here low. I'm going to tilt this up for 1 second so I can see what's going on. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so let me tilt this back up so you guys can see it. And I'm pretty happy with that. She is definitely soldered on in place and ready to rock and roll. So we can come back up. Alright, so we've got that all done. Now, we're going to slide our microscope out of the way real quick like. Just for a few minutes. We're going to be back underneath him shortly, but for just a few minutes we're going to slide him out of the way. We're going to clean this board up one last time. Make sure everything is good to go. I have not seen this chip, this button here, the sync button fail on any of them yet. I have not seen that. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I just haven't seen it yet. So that all seems pretty good. We're going to flip our board over. Give him a brief scrub. Make sure all the trash and debris, all that good stuff, anything, I say good stuff, all that bad stuff is gone off of our board. Alright, I'll tell you what. That's got us good to go on this. We're going to set him aside for now. I'm going to go and toss all these plastics that I'm going to clean up and use again in a bath and scrub them down real quick, and I'll be back. And when I get back, we will throw in our mod chip and start preparing the back of our case, because it's going to require a little bit of work to get in our trigger stops. So I'll be right back when we round up all this plastic and get it cleaned up. Alright, for the 457th time, we're going to try to record this part. Keep getting interrupted with work and Instacart deliveries and everything else. So, I get asked frequently, what's the best way to go about cleaning stuff? How do you clean things properly without damaging them? Go to disassemble whatever you're working on. Take the pieces apart to where there's no electronics. Take it to your sink. Put the stopper in the sink. Apply Dawn dish soap. And I'm a big fan of using hydrogen peroxide, just standard over the counter, standard hydrogen peroxide. Use quite a bit in there, whatever you feel comfortable with. It won't hurt a thing. Put that in there. Let it soak in hot water for 30 minutes to an hour or so, depending on how dirty it is. And then start scrubbing it with a brush of some sort, toothbrush. Generally, the softer the better. And then usually what I'll do is I'll pull it out and let it dry for several hours. Or if I need it right away, I'll go ahead and pull it out and wipe it down with a paper towel. Either way works. So we have now moved on to the point where we've got everything done. I went ahead during our break and I reinstalled the trigger covers because I got those all cleaned up, put back on. And we are now at the point where we're going to install our XMod chip. This is a 30 mode chip. It does rapid fire, jump shot, aim shot, drop aim shot, quick aim, akimbo mimic. You can adjust speed factors on how fast you want your rapid fire. It's a good little chip to have. How much it helps depends a lot on a lot of things, to be perfectly honest. But it is a good little chip. I've been pretty happy with the other ones that I've had from these guys. They make a good little product. The only criticism I've got with XMods is I really wish that they would not pre-solder on these wires. I know why they do it. It's not bad, but I wish they wouldn't, because some of these wires are going to end up really long, and some of them don't need to be quite this long. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to solder on our LED wire. So what happens is when you, and it's the time where we need to break back out the microscope. When you go to install this, and the reason that I went ahead and put the base on the board is so I could figure out layout and how long wires needed to be. So when you go to install this, some of these wires are going to be way long for where they need to go. Some of them are going to be way short. The routing can be a little bit hinky. When I say hinky, it can be a little bit difficult to figure out properly how to get the routing absolutely correct. And the solder points that you're going to are tiny, teensy tiny, very difficult to see. As a matter of fact, XMod makes a point of stating, do not install this yourself. If you are not familiar with electronics, do not bother with this. Don't even touch it, because you can end up very quickly destroying your console, or not your console, your controller. So our chip is going to live right about here. And when I say here, let me pull this microscope out of the way just one second, and I'll show you exactly where it's going to live. So our chip is going to live right about in this area, give or take. Now you can install it this way, you can install it this way. It makes no difference. There's plenty of room in the case right here for that, so either way works. We have to take a white wire, which is our LED wire, and our purple wire, which is our A button wire, around to the bottom board. The only problem, the white wire is really easy to get to, but the wire for the purple is actually underneath this. You cannot go through these screw holes because you're going to need them. So you have to wrap this wire around and go under. And so having these two attached can kind of give you an idea of the best path to take, because you've got some chips and you've got some spacers in between this to keep these the exact distance apart that you want. So knowing that, we can separate that guy right there. We've got plenty of room. Again, I'm just putting this in here so I can get an idea of where it goes. So if I remember correctly, and it's been just a little bit since I've done this, the purple wire goes to TP21. LED wire definitely goes up to our driver up top. And I'm just taking a double second to look at us. Yeah, okay. So our purple wire definitely goes right here to TP21. Let me get him down here where you guys can see. So our purple wire is going to go to our TP21, and this guy right here And our white wire, and I'm using my thumb in the screen to try to find exactly where I'm at. Our white wire goes to this particular leg on this transistor for our LED driver. Okay, so the first one that we're going to attach, and I'm going to show you, this is the best way to go about this. Once you get your soldering iron good and heated up, everything's ready to go. You get a little bit of flux, a little bit of solder here, and we're going to tin this pad on this little resistor right here. It's just, the resistor is on your board will be just below what is indicated as Q5 or R5 and Q3. So we're going to tin our pad, and this is going to get very tiny very fast. It's very difficult to see. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and attach our white wire. Now, I fully understand that this is probably going to be too long. Let me just lift this up a little bit. And when I say probably going to be too long, I am confident this is going to be too long of a wire, but that's okay. We will switch it on the chip itself when we get over there. And the way you want to come into this guy is sideways. This is all under the battery tray. I'll tell you what, let me get my nippers and nip off all but just the very, very, very end of this. Now this is a Kynar wire. Kynar wire, and I'd say it's probably a 30 gauge, give or take. Kynar wire is really good, and if you are fast in soldering and can move quickly, it's excellent. If you're not, Kynar wire will expose itself. The insulation will run backwards a little bit, which is actually can be useful at times, but this is one of those times where we don't want that. Alright, there we go. We got us a good solid joint on that. I'm trying to tilt a microscope where you and I can both see at the same time. Okay, our purple wire, which is our A button, again is going to be on TP21, which is, this gets a little bit tough for me to always find in my screen, this guy right here. Okay, this little via, this little test pad right here, this guy. Okay, so with TP21, I'll tell you what, let me kill this soft box. And it may make it easier for you guys to see. Maybe we're gonna try it. Yeah, that's probably a little bit easier for you guys to see. Okay. So we put a little bit of flux on it, and now we're going to take our tip. Now, usually I will switch over to my much smaller tip for this, my smaller chisel. But I think we can probably pull this off without it. So this is our purple wire, and we're going to untangle him a little bit from our bundle, which is another reason I say I really wish that XMod would not pre-solder these wires on. I know why they do it. They do it, if I had to wager, just to guess, because they're probably tired of hearing people say, you know, I couldn't figure out which way, or they're getting calls or complaints or whatever about somebody couldn't get it to solder. This is one of those jobs that you really should not attempt. It's as a first, second, third, 10th, 100th job that you're going to do, or, you know, mod that you're going to do. This is going to be one of those, after you've been doing this for a good long time, then you might give this a shot. So we're just going to strip away all but just a little bit. We're going to fold this up in a little bit of an S shape, apply a little bit more flux, and we are going to go to TP21, and we're going to solder this wire right here on. Just not happy with any of that, to be perfectly honest. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This one is a fairly difficult. The test pad is so stinking small, and you just don't have a lot to work with here, a lot of room to work with on this one. As is the case in most of these, most of the places on this board, you just don't have a lot of room to get in there and do what you have to do. So it can be a little bit of a challenge. All right, let's go back in here one more time. There we go. That's a good joint. So we're going to give him the old wiggle test. And we're going to give the white one the old wiggle test. They both seem good. Okay. So now that we've got those two attached, we are ready to move on to the bottom part of our board. Now it's time for us to start thinking about wire routing. Now with the white wire, let me fold this guy. Let me pull this little piece of Kynar out the way. Or not Kynar, this little piece of... there we go. Fold him up out of the way. Slide our microscope off to the side so you guys can see. So with our white wire, as I showed you earlier, you have all the room in the world to come anywhere over here you want. Literally anywhere you want. All the white wire does is blink the LED in series. So what I like to do with this, this is what I do with mine, is I like to follow the route of our Bluetooth signal wire. Okay? Now, once we have followed that route, we can take a small piece being the operative word, of my brain has gone completely blank on the name of this tape. On our high temp tape, we take a small piece of it and we can tape him down in place where we want him to be. Okay? What killed me on the name of this particular tape is that I just said the word Kynar, and the name of this tape is so close to Kynar, it just absolutely killed my ability to think after that. Okay, so we've got our white wire routed, and he's going to come around this way and follow our Bluetooth wire on up, and then we'll cut that way up there. Our purple wire, on the other hand, needs to come around this way. And if we put pressure down and we lock him in place, we do have room to wrap this around. However, we have to be careful because our attachment points for our motor, our trigger motor, is right here. So, but we can still come this way, so that's no problem. So we're going to do that. And we're going to go ahead and get him ready. Now, what we're going to do with our white and our purple wire is we're going to go ahead and we're going to desolder them from this chip deliberately. Because they are going to be nothing but in the way for us. We've got a general idea of where they're going, and everything else is going to be in the way, and they are both on the top. And that's the important thing to remember, is that they are both on the top. Now we can we can take this back off and we can focus on just the bottom board. And set that whole thing out of the way. And all the rest of this is going to be underneath the old microscope. Now, in our kit that our board comes with, we're going to start with the brown wire first. Now we know that our chip is going to live right over here somewhere. We're going to probably go ahead and land him vertically. Matter of fact, we might land him vertically. Might land him vertically this way, but before we do that, we want to double check, because I think one of these under here has a connection too. So, backing back up to our brown wire. Let me take a better look real quick and double check. Okay, so the way that we need to install this chip is going to be, let me get over here where you guys can see this, right here, right beside that screw hole. Now they do include a little piece of double-sided tape, and so that's what we're going to take with us and use. We're going to stick it to the bottom of our chip, give them a good smash down, and we're going to go ahead and attach this guy. Now you can, if you so desire, use a slightly thinner piece of double-sided tape, is also absolutely fine. No problem with that at all. So we're going to go ahead and attach him there and give him a good squeeze down so he's in place. Okay. The first wire, now that we've got our, other than our purple and white wire that we're going to install, is going to be our B button wire, and that goes to R29. I just have to go and find R29 at this point. I wonder, I bet I did. Did it again. I did the same thing on my board when I did mine. Did the same thing. Sure did. So we're going to unspool him for just a second. Our B wire goes to, let me show you the side of the resistor it goes to. So if you look at our microscope at R29, this guy right here, okay, our B wire goes to this side of this resistor on this via side right here, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and solder that up. Try to get us up here where you guys can see it. I literally did the exact same thing. I went ahead and stuck down my chip before I soldered this one in on mine as well. Forgot all about it. As a matter of fact, I've done it 3 different times now. I've done this, made the same mistake. I keep forgetting about that. Okay. So what we're going to do is, we know that our brown wire, which lives on the bottom of our board, goes here, and nothing else, double checking, nothing else goes in that particular area, just that particular one goes right there. Now we do have, our ground goes a little bit further over and whatnot, but, and our positive wire, that goes all the way to the other side, this one. So we can actually take and we can clip this guy pretty short. We want to leave a little bit of a loop because it's going to have to come up like this and lay flat on the board, but we can clip him pretty short. No need to go long with him. I say the shorter the better. Leave yourself room to work with, but you can clip him pretty short. what we're going to do is we're going to cut this guy off. We're going to nip him down to size. Apply another tiny drop of flux. Fold all of our wires out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and solder this guy on. And then we're going to fold this whole entire set over. I'm going to have to do this way if I'm ever going to get it. All these wires out of the way. Let me find our solder point, R29, on the board. And see if I can get him. Let me tilt this up just a little bit and see if I can get him landed properly. There we go. Give him the old wiggle test. Once we're sure he passes, we're going to apply a little bit of isopropyl, and we're going to clean this area because we're about to sticky down to it. Fold our tape back down, and we're going to take our chip, carefully with our wires, split them around the brown wire as she goes. And we're going to set this chip right back down here, back down on the board. Good. Move this out of the way and you guys can see what we've got. So we've folded him back around and set him back down on the board. Just like this. So we've got our brown wire just folded right there, and we can now take him and push him down nice and flush with the board, and that's good to go. And our chip, our XMod chip, is now right here on the board, mounted good and solid, so we are good on that. Okay. The next wire that we're going to install is going to be our ground wire. And our ground wire, which is our, well, I say ground wire, it's our black negative wire for our chipset. Move this out of the way just a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. This is why I say I wish that they wouldn't install these at the factory. We're going to take our black wire, fold all of these up out of the way, and we're going to come right around our board. We're going to follow our chip, and we're going to put a hard bend in it, because where we have to land to, let me get this over here where you guys can see, where we have to land to is this top leg, okay, this top leg of our analog stick. This is our, they call it negative wire. We can't land him yet though. We're going to leave him a little bit long. We're going to cut him once we get him in place about up here, and we're just going to set that out of the way. We know where he goes. Okay. We have to run our positive wire. Just one second. Our positive wire now has to run all the way up, and it terminates to TP21, which is all the way down here in this very, very, very bottom corner right down here. Okay, TP21 is what we're looking for. This is going to be our red wire. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, you want to be very careful routing any wires in over top of this, especially on this side right here. We're going to have to. We don't have a choice, but we want to be as careful as we can And with our red wire, we're going to fold him down and make a sharp turn. And we're going to come all the way down to our board. We're going to shoot all the way across as low as possible. We're going to tape this up and dress him up later. Right now we're just getting a good solid routing going. We'll get him up here to our TP21 area. And we'll clip him off right there. And we're going to go ahead and tin TP21. And we're going to go ahead and land our positive red wire to it. Okay. Now I know that you guys are not blind and you can see, well, it's already got solder on it. Why would you put salt more? Because, again, the solder that they use in the factory is non-leaded solder. It takes a little bit more heat to heat up, and the joint is usually, while it is quite strong, for what we're trying to do, it's not ideal. So I'm trying to get a good look and see when I've got this the jacket stripped off. It's just wanting to fight with me. There we go. Okay. So we're going to take this guy, fold him back around here, tuck him in nice and tight to the board. Slide this guy out of the way you guys can see what I'm doing. So we're going to take our red wire, we're going to tuck him in nice and tight. We're going to bring him down, and don't worry, we're going to secure this wire, physically strap it down in a little bit. But for now, we just want to get him with our routing soldered in place. Okay, that is a really good solid view of that. So we're going to take our wire, and we are very gently, you know what the light coming in and out is? I've left this little mini soft box on again, and it is just eating my lunch. So, trying to get a little bit of a bend down on it, on our wire here. There we go, that's what we're after. Apply a little bit of flux, just a little dot. I don't know if you guys have been able to tell yet, this can be more than a little bit challenging to get us exactly what we're shooting for here. Which is why XMod is so adamant that, you know, they'd rather you just send it to them or buy one of their pre-modded controllers. This is, in the grand scheme of difficult mods to do, this is right on up there, pretty tough. With some of the solder points on it are pretty tight. Matter of fact, if you thought those so far were bad, just wait, they get worse from here. So that's our positive wire. We got a white wire, we got a blue wire, our purple wire, brown wire on. Now we need to go to, and we've got our negative already over there in place. Now we need to take our yellow and our green wire up here to, let me find them, to the pins on this chip. And the way that you count these is with the chip laying this way. Let me slide this out of the way so you guys can see it. With the chip laying this direction, okay? And the first wire that we're going to attach is our green left trigger wire. And he goes on pin number 10. Pin number 10. So, start on this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This guy right here. Now you can come here, or you can attach it to this one, but this pin is, oddly enough, easier to get to. So I'm going to slide back over here to the end, and we're going to double check. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, correct. This guy right here. If you're not sure, it's the pin on this chip that goes to TP28 or TP68. If you're not sure exactly which one to go to, that's the one you want. So I'm trying to do this without getting in the camera's way too much. There we go. And this is going to be our green wire. So we're going to take our green wire. Green and yellow, by the way, are both coming this way. So we are going to come down the same way that we brought our red and our black. We're going to fold that over nice and tight. And we're going to cut across the top. And we're going to bring our green wire right here and clip him off. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing right now, but you can't see what I'm doing because I need to be I need to see what I'm doing, and this is not easy. Okay, so we need to clip him off roughly right there. Okay. Now let me strip him out. Let me double check how much I've got stripped. Way too much, so we're going to nip him way down. How much are we going to nip off of it? Almost all of it. About like that. Now we're going to come down here back to pin 10. If you remember from earlier, it goes up to TP68. And we're going to put a little dab of flux. And yes, I am having to do this upside down now. If you can tell in my viewfinder, I am having to do this upside down because there's no way for me to hold this board and the wire together at the same time. Give him the pull test, and he looks great. Yellow, I believe, goes to pin 20. Let me double check. I've had to open up their website because I don't remember perfectly. Yellow does go to pin 20. So we're going to flip this back over, counting the same exact direction that we were just counting from. So if we're counting from that same direction, we know 10. It should be almost at the corner of this board. So we know 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right here at the corner of this board. Okay? Right here. Pin 20. This guy. It's pin 20. Now, there is no reference that I can give you for this one because its attachment point is under is under the metal shielding. The trace is going under the metal shielding. There's nothing I can give you on that. You're just gonna have to try to visually remember where it goes. Well, this one, I can, and I'm going to leave him a little long, and I'm doing this on purpose, because I trying to hold this all at the same time just isn't going to cut it for me. So trying to strip and hold and move and do everything else I need to do, this yellow wire, I clipped a little long so I could get it where I wanted it. But this one, this wire goes to our right trigger. This is our right trigger wire. And we're going to put him down here. Orange wire, go away. I'm going to put him down here on screen and see how much I've got stripped off if I can find him. There we go. So probably got a little bit much stripped off on him, so we're going to nip him down just a little bit as well. You want an absolute minimal amount on this as you can possibly get. These wires are small enough and hard enough to deal with as is. Any excess wire is just going to make your life a living hell. Okay. And this is our guy right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend in like so. We're going to put a little bit of flux. And we're going to go ahead and get him soldered in place. Just like that. Go ahead and give him the wiggly pull test. Everything seems great there, so we can pull yellow and green back this way, back this way. Okay. And again, we're holding them down for routing purposes and making sure, let me slide this out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing, because the only wire that we now have disconnected, not connected to anything, is our orange wire and our black wire. And one final green wire we're going to deal with here in a few minutes. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a small little piece of our heat tape here, a small little piece, and we're going to wrap our red wire into place. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to pull him nice and snug. Now, you can't do anything about this side of the board, okay? This side of the board is where the speaker goes, but this side of the board right here, if we put our tape on top, we can wrap him under and around, and it won't be in the way of anything, and it'll hold our red wire nice and in perfect shape right where we want him. Now, we can do the same thing, the exact same thing, right here underneath our analog stick with our green and yellow wire. We can do the same thing right there. So we're going to get one more small piece. And we're going to keep it out of the way because remember, we still have to solder in. We still have to solder in our analog stick here. So we're going to try to keep our wire out of the way as much as possible, making sure that we're not covering any of the holes. And we're going to get this under a microscope so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So we've taken our Kynar wire, or our, I keep saying Kynar, our heat tape here, and we've gone in between these 2 points, right, with our tape. And with our red wire down at the bottom, we've laid him across. And we flip this board over, bring him back up. Our analog stick, again, is going to stick straight down through these 2 holes right here, okay? And so we have just folded our tape around so that it drops right in between those 2 and holds our green and yellow out of the way. Same thing we did with our red down here. Now, there is only one wire left that we have to attach. And in the kit that this comes with, there's a button that must be attached to it. And this button also, again, has to go to the ground on our analog switch, on our analog thumbstick. So we're going to strip off some of him. We're not even going to attach him yet. We're just going to strip it and set it aside because we haven't installed our analog sticks yet. But now is the time to go ahead and install those. So let's get rid of this. Let's round up. Let's set this board out of the way for now. And remember, we're still going to have to go back here in just a little bit, and we're going to have to install our white and our purple wire back to this board. But for right now, in order to get everything set up, we've got to install our analog switches. So the first one we're going to install is going to be this one, the one where all of our tape and all the stuff going on is. Oh, we got a little leg bent. That's okay. We'll just unbend him. The first one that we stick in is this guy right here. Now you want to be careful, cautious, delicate whenever you're installing these. You can buy, as far as these switches go, you can buy a lot of different brands online. You can buy a lot of different stuff. I buy only Alps. It's what Microsoft uses. It's what Sony uses. It's what everybody uses. Why would I use anything else? There just is no reason. So we're going to start with this one up here. Apply a little bit of flux. And we're just going to tack this in place first. Try to always do that. Don't try to go nuts soldering 3 or 4 of these. Tack one in place. Okay. And then hold him up and make sure it's a ground, because those are going to be our strongest bond. And we're going to tack another one in place, the opposite corner, just like that. Again, we're going to put a little pressure and just redo that. And the reason we tack it in place and then we go put pressure on it and we hold down on it again is just to make sure it's all the way seated. We don't want to accidentally have this thing not hold correctly. We don't want to leave this thing partially connected or anything like that. We don't want to make it loose or wobbly. We want this to last. And so by making sure our anchor points are good and secured and are good and solid and our switch is pushed all the way into place, we now know that it's never going anywhere, and we're good from there. All of those joints look absolutely beautiful, so take a little isopropyl and we're going to clean as we go. And we're going to stick our second switch in. He goes in just exactly the same way as the last one. Drop him right in the hole. A little bit of pressure down. Go ahead and tack him in place. Doesn't have to be the strongest tack in the whole entire universe. We're just going to tack him so we can get under the board, press down, and hold. And we're going to come to the opposite corner of that and repeat that process again. Make sure all of our pins are in good shape. Hit our other two anchor points. Again, being extra careful with our yellow and green wire. Remember, they're still running up there. Okay, they're still running through there. So we're going to be extra careful. Okay. Now, it is entirely possible that what just happened to me will happen to you. Is that the flux will make the tape that we put on come loose. Don't worry about that. Don't panic. It'll stick back down in a second. Trust me. We're going to, once we're done flowing all of these pads, all these points, we're going to clean the area with our isopropyl, and then we're going to rerun it with our heat gun and warm it up nice and warm for us. Now, fold our tape back around. We're going to use our soldering iron to apply a little heat to it. It's going to reheat the adhesive in it and make him hold nice and firm and tight so that it doesn't come back off. All right. Cool. Now, if you remember, we still have to deal with our black wire, and we still have to deal with our individual green wire. And the black wire goes to the very tip top of this. You've got your 3 pads on your analog stick. The black wire is going to go up top here. Our green wire is going to go right down here. We're going to go ahead and strip out our black because we did not do that yet. There we go. There we go. We're going to nip some of the excess off. And go ahead and solder him in place. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to double check on our green wire. Yeah. Okay. So the green wire goes to our tactile switch, which we have yet to install. That's coming up very soon. The green wire goes to on the bottom of this analog stick, the very last one over here. Okay. Give him the old wiggle test. Everything looks great there. Okay. Now, that we've got all of those wires installed, it's time, at this juncture, to start reinstalling, rebuilding our controller all the way out. Okay. So we start dropping our buttons back in place where they go. ABXY. I can't think of a way that Microsoft could have made this any easier as far as which way these buttons go in. However, I can never get them right. I fight with these things. This will be the first time I think in my life I've ever gotten them right on the first shot. I've always had to fight with these things. I always do. I'm just not any good at making sure that they are installed properly. We'll put our dome, or our little piece of carbon pad trace down, and then we can officially go ahead and install our bottom board, because everything from here will happen up the board. So let me stick a screw in this just for the time being and take a quick break, and I'll be right back and we will finish this guy up. So I guess it's officially story time. So I had this entire build all planned out, had ordered all of the things to get this all done. I've been very excited about this one for several days now. And I was finally, all the parts were coming in. I've had the controller showed up today. I've had the XMod chip for, I don't know, 6 months at this point, 3 months, I don't know. Everything was going to be in. When I say everything, the last couple of pieces from Amazon were showing up today, and we were going to wrap this up, get her done, and have a great reveal. But instead of that, what we're going to do is we're going to tell a story. And this story is called, Why Do I Pay for Amazon Prime? If anybody knows, I'm all ears, because I don't know. So, you get online to order from Amazon. You buy the thing that you want. You search for it. You find it. You get all of the things that you need. You add them to your cart. And you go to checkout. Now, you double check your shipping and your payment options and all the other things that one does. And as you check out, oh Lord, I forgot this thing has so many different things. Let me grab the instruction sheet because I don't remember how these install, and I will do it wrong. Not on purpose, but mainly just because I will forget. Oh, that's right. You get all the things in your cart that you want, and you go check out. You double check your payment options and your shipping options. You double check not because you have to, but you're just double checking to be on the safe side, because this has happened to you before, you know. And you want to make sure everything goes off smoothly and you get everything you need. And so you, by the way, be careful with these because they only go a certain way. These are the starts of the trigger stops. And to say that they are a pain to install most of the time would be light. Every set I've ever installed, even though they are, it's an incredible kit. They can be a bit of a pain. That little brass piece right there, sometimes they just don't like to fit. But anyway, so you go through and you search for everything you want for, you know, your own build, or in my case a video. Get it in your cart, you go check out, you double check your shipping, double check your payment. Everything goes through. You get your notification. Item's been shipped. Great. Item shall be delivered, so saith Amazon, on this date, before 9 p.m. I don't understand that, by the way. It's always before 9 p.m. And that's true. It, you know, when they make their deadline, it is always before 9 p.m. However, I've never known USPS, UPS, FedEx, DHL, any of the rest of them to deliver something late. Usually about 7 o'clock is the cutoff. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I live out in the middle of nowhere and they can't be bothered. At any rate, so you get everything all set up and ordered the way that you want it. Sorry, I'm double checking my instructions because it's been a little bit since I've done this, and I don't want to. I'm already aggravated enough with Amazon. I don't want to. I don't want to misinstall this. So you get everything in your cart the way that you want it. Check out, and it gives you your delivery date. You know, and usually, because Amazon is stupid, I guess, they give you a couple of delivery day options. If you've ever noticed that. You know, you can have it delivered on this day or this day, but you pick the date that you want to get it delivered on for everything to be there. There we go. And that day rolls around, and you wake up in the morning, because you know your package is coming today, and you are so excited. More excited than you've been since you were a child at Christmas, as was the case with me today. All right, great, it's coming today. Everything is coming today. I can't wait. I can put this great video together that I've been very excited for, and because everything is coming today. There's a lot of screws they put in with this. Gives you plenty of extra screws, which I guess is good. We need the T6 screws, which are going to be the smallest ones, is what it says. We need a washer, and we need our spring. And the day rolls around, and it says out for delivery. You ever notice that? Always out for delivery. And delivery time comes, the normal time, nothing shows up, doesn't come with the mail. And you think, well, maybe it's on the UPS truck, and the UPS truck's running a little late today. It happens. Sometimes the poor guy, bless his soul, he's had a long day, and you know, the jerk that lives out in the middle of nowhere like me has ordered more stuff, and he's got to drive all the way out there to the middle of nowhere again for the 400th time. So he's had a bit of a rough day, Maybe he's just running behind. Well, the average, the normal time that he would normally show up comes and goes again. And he is nowhere to be found. Can't quite figure out where he's at. Why is he not here? What has happened to the UPS man? Has he vanished off? Has anybody heard from him? Should we send out a search party? You know, all of the things. But you're confident, you know, maybe he's just running behind. And it gets later and later, and pretty soon you realize the UPS man is, I don't know, something's not right here. So you get on your Amazon account to check your order. Still shows out for delivery. So you sit down to record a video for your subscribers, your viewers. This video that you've been, in my case, and this is where I come in, I've been pretty excited about doing this one build. Show off something new, do something neat, and you start your video because it's still showing out for delivery. It's coming. You know it's coming. It's on the way. So saith Amazon, it's coming. So you start your build knowing that by the end of the video, all of your things that you need, the last couple of pieces that you need, will be there. Of course they're coming. Amazon said they're coming. It shows out for delivery. Of course it's there. You get up after you've done a large portion of the video, and you go take you a break for a few minutes, because you need to take a break for a few minutes, doing some of these sometimes, and you check your Amazon to see what's going on. And as soon as you open your Amazon page, you realize there is a problem. A big, huge problem. Shipping delayed. Now, Amazon has moved. Used to, they would say, you know, your order, don't worry, your order's still on the way. Now, it's just delayed. And you go and you look at the tracking information, and it shows that it was shipped out on time. It shows that it departed the facility, and it traveled, and it is in your area. It was in your area this morning, and it was transferred to another carrier. Why was it transferred to another carrier? Why? There's no explanation given. It was just transferred to another carrier. Okay, maybe the mail guy's car was too full, or maybe UPS didn't have enough room on their truck and they had to drop it off with FedEx to get them to finish it up. Who knows? It was transferred to another carrier. But it doesn't show that update until the end of the day, when we've reached the point where it is not going to make it to you. There is nothing you can do. There's no way. It's not going to happen. It's not going to make it to you. Then all of a sudden they say that at 2 o'clock it was transferred to another carrier and it's been delayed. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that and you used to, Amazon's Prime 2-day shipping meant something, by the way. Used to, Amazon's Prime meant you were getting this in 2 days. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It will be there in 2 days. Anymore, what Amazon's 2-day shipping means is, we're going to try. We might get it there. We're going to tell you it'll get there. Used to, when your package didn't show up on time and it was something you needed, you called Amazon and you were greeted by a nice person, a nice worker, and they, oh, I'm so sorry. Sir, ma'am, I'm so sorry we didn't make that on time. What can we do to make it up for you, and all the things. And then I guess Jeff Bezos wasn't rich enough. So, and they would give you vouchers. They give you a credit on your, oh, sir, we're so sorry. really screwed up on your delivery of, Coke product, your 2-liter of Coke that you ordered. And we can see we've ruined your life indiscriminately, and you'll never be the same. So we're going to try to make this all better for you by giving you a $5, please accept this on our behalf. We're so sorry that we have ruined your life and made everything so miserable for you. They would apologize profusely. It was wonderful. It's great. You felt like, you knew they didn't, but you felt like they cared and they were trying, and that this $99, notice I said $99, was worth it. You felt like that this money that you were paying was worth it, because they're, listen, they really go out of their way. They do a great job. I can remember having the conversation the first year that I had Amazon Prime for Christmas. And I can remember telling people, listen, I will never again, so long as I live, do Christmas shopping in the store again. I will just do it online. My life has gotten so much better, and I am such a happier human being because Amazon Prime has saved me from the misery of going to the stores at Christmas time, and how wonderful life is. And all of the things, all the things. And man, what a great value. And then you hear, well, just so you know, by the way, guys, Amazon is going to go up on their prices. Oh. Well, what are they going up to? Well, Amazon Prime is going up to $129 a year. Oh. And then they start missing deadlines. Oh. Well, you know what? It's still a great value, I guess. I get free 2-day shipping that arrives usually within 3 or 4 days. I've gotten what I've done here is I've gotten myself a deal. You see, I know that they're a little slow sometimes. I know they miss a few deadlines, but they do a great job, don't they? I mean, why would you cancel this? What a great service they offer. They have lulled you into a trap, is what they've done. You think that they are doing a great job, but they're not. They are ruining everything. I don't know who the latest crop of human beings Jeff Bezos has hired down there. I don't know what meetings they're having in their boardrooms. I don't know what's going on at that company. I don't know what their bicker is, their fight is with the USPS or FedEx or any. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what's going on with these guys. Here's what I know. My 2-day shipping that I pay for used to actually arrive in 2 days. I know that. I know that for a fact. It used to actually show up. When it said, it'll be here in 2 days, it was there. There was no question. It was there. What I know now is that it might be there. It might, but it probably won't. It will probably be there in 3 or 4 days after it's been transferred to 6 different carriers, made it all the way to your destination. For instance, I live in sunny South Carolina. After it's made it all the way to Columbia, I don't live too far from Columbia, it will then turn around, travel all the way to Pennsylvania, to Ohio, North Carolina, detour to Florida, and then eventually it will show up on your doorstep late. And the only answer you get is, it's on the way. Your item has shipped. Well, thanks, I guess, for nothing. Thanks for not following through on your commitment. I appreciate that. What I could use, though, is the package that I ordered. Now, listen, not to be ridiculous and silly and petty and all the other things, I ordered parts for a video game controller. I'll survive somehow. I'm not sure how, but I'm going to survive. I'll survive this atrocity, this crime that's been committed upon me, I'll make it out fine, I guess. Sorry, I'm just double checking my wiring because I forgot which one went where, and it looks like white went to the far side. That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. You know. Anyway, at any rate, I'll survive this. I'm going to be fine. You know, this is not going to be the end of me or this channel or the fun that we have. But, however, Amazon made me a commitment that this stuff would be here in 2 days. I used to, you know, I never really cared for it. I subscribed to Netflix anyway. And that certainly wasn't going to change because I had Amazon Prime. I know that's what Amazon wanted me to do. But I liked Netflix. Still like Netflix. I'm not quite sure why I continue to pay for it because I don't really watch it. But I liked it. And so, you know, it was a value for me. So I continued to watch it and enjoy it and all the rest of the things. What we're going to do with this purple wire, by the way, is we're going to come all the way down and around. And the reason we're going to do that is because, unlike the brown wire that's attached to this board, the purple wire goes under. And if we're not careful, if we ever have to remove this for any reason, it won't be long enough to reach. So travel your purple wire all the way underneath your circuit board or your XMOD board, and it'll be fine. Sorry, back on subject here. So, you know, I still pay for Netflix. I still pay for HBO. I'm not sure why I do that either, but I do. Occasionally, there's a show I watch. You know, when the Grand Tour got booted off, Top Gear, when Clarkson and Co. Got shut down off of BBC, I loved Top Gear. It was one of my all-time favorite shows to watch. And so when they left and then Amazon picked them up, you know, that's the only reason, because they were on Amazon Prime TV, that I ever watched Amazon Prime TV. Like, that was the only reason, because I couldn't have cared less about it. But when they had you know, Clarkson and Co., you know, that gave me something to watch on Amazon, and I was thrilled, happy as I could be. You know, this was a service that I had been paying for all this time, but never actually used. You know, even traveling around the country as an electrician, I bought all of my TV shows. Anything I wanted to watch, I didn't get it on Netflix. I could never rely on Netflix. You know, I never knew which tiny little town or wherever I would be at, and if the hotel that I happened to get stuck at even had internet. And so I bought all my shows on the Microsoft Store because I carried my Xbox with me everywhere I went. Now, you know, having said that, that's, you know, when I finally switched over and bought a Xbox One, I realized how screwed I got on that deal, because Microsoft used to allow you to download all of your content to your hard drive, and they stopped that with the Xbox One, which was rather aggravating. But I'll outsmart you. I went and bought a Amazon Prime tablet. I'll outsmart you, Microsoft. And then I'll just download all my movies and TVs from Movies Anywhere, and then I can just watch them, well, anywhere. And so that's what I did. But anyway, so sorry, Kynar tape, dropped it. That was the name, by the way, I was looking for earlier and I couldn't think of. It's Kynar. So at any rate, so there you are. You step outside to take you a break, and you realize that your package that you paid, I paid the shipping for, is in the area. It's just been transferred to, quote unquote, another carrier. Another carrier? Who? who's the other carrier? I would like to talk to this other carrier, because this morning it was with UPS or FedEx or whoever it was that had it literally this morning. It was on a truck. And I know that not because I was standing there as it was loaded. I know that because that's what the tracking says. And then at 1 o'clock, I don't know, man. Maybe the guy ran out of gas or had a wreck. I don't know. What I do know is that at around 1 o'clock, it was transferred to another carrier. And now I've come home from work, had me a day-ish, not a bad day, just a day, and I am excited because I literally, and when I say excited, I was genuinely excited about this video for you guys. I really was. I was really happy. This is one of those rare instances where I get to do something incredibly cool that maybe you guys don't get to see very often on YouTube or wherever else, and see the full build out of one of these modded controllers and how they all go together and everything. You know, and so I was really legitimately excited about it. Doing this video today, I really was. However, the package was transferred to another carrier. So there is no possible way that I can finish this. It's not possible. I don't have the parts. I don't have the parts because I paid for Prime shipping. I don't have the parts because Prime shipping, for some reason, that 2-day shipping, it'll be here. Listen, it's not here. Okay? I don't know where it's at, but I know it's not here. I ordered I've been having some health problems lately, and the other day I ordered a armband thing, an armband blood pressure monitor. I ordered it. It was a deal of the day. It was Prime deal of the day, right? I ordered it on Thursday. Right? It's 2-day shipping. It's arriving Wednesday of this week. That's not 2-day shipping. I mean, I don't care if you live in Calcutta. That's not 2-day shipping. You know, that's at best 6-day shipping. I'm not saying that, you know, 6-day shipping is not quite the feat to be proud of. I'm just saying I feel pretty confident that there's nowhere in the continental U.S. I can't get to in 6 days. I know I'm just one guy, you know, but I feel confident that there is nothing that I can't get delivered in under 6 days if I want it, and if I'm willing to pay for it. And I was willing to pay for it. That's why I pay for Prime shipping. But anyway, so the purpose of me going on this rant, and I do apologize for the rant that I've gone on, is to tell you guys that I am incredibly sorry, incredibly sorry that I'm not going to be able to complete and finish this video build for you guys. I really legitimately, from the bottom of my heart, I am sorry. I really wanted to. I was thoroughly, heavily excited about it. I told the wife when I came in, all my parts are going to be here. I can't wait to do this video. And she said, what do you mean? You can't wait? I was like, you know, I don't get to do these videos often. I get to do lots of other videos. I get to do other things. But I don't get to do these videos where I get to, you know, do these cool custom mods and stuff. I just don't get to do them very often, you know, because I'm doing, you know, a Sega Genesis or a Game Gear or something. You know, I'm doing something else, and you know, I'm restoring a classic console, and so this one I was really stoked about. However, Amazon, as I've said, has completely screwed me, and what they've done is they've left me without the parts that I need to finish this. So I guess here's where I'm at, guys. Congratulations. Enjoy your controller. I hope it's everything you wanted it to be. If you're unhappy with the build and the quality that came out and that it's missing parts, call Amazon and find out where my package is. You guys didn't really think I was going to let this in that way, did you? You see, even though Amazon, being what Amazon is, and failed miserably to uphold their obligations, I've already built one of these before. So all I really need to do is disassemble this one and we're ready to go, right? See, the magic thing about all of this is we're going to speed through this whole thing right here. Just one second. Let me get it set up and we're going to fast forward through all of it. Alright, back at it. So, we're going to wait to install all this. The first thing that we've got to do is we've got to drill a hole. Okay, so the hole that we have to drill is for this push button right here. And so you need to pick somewhere where it's going to fall readily to hand, right somewhere where you're going to want it. What I did on my original one over here was install it roughly in this area. And if you flip the inside of it over, you'll see a nice little flat spot right here in this corner for it. Right here in this little area here for this guy. Right in that little flat area right there. And that's exactly where we're going to install it. Now, in order to accomplish that, we're going to need power tools. Power tools are lots of fun. And we are going to need an appropriately sized drill bit. So, question is, which size drill bit do we need? Well, all we need is a drill bit big enough for the end of that button right there. And I believe, if memory serves, 1/8 of an inch is pretty close to what we have to have. So I want this thing to fall. I prefer for it to fall on my right hand. So we're going to stick this guy right through here. Position is not super important. Just go nice and slow. And whatever you do, use very light pressure and don't drill through your hand. Okay? We're going to take our button and make sure he fits properly. Nope, we got to go up a little bit in our drill size. Well, that's just the same size, isn't it? Perhaps 9/64. Nine-sixty-fourths is exactly the size that you need. So when I originally did my first one, what I used to attach it was some hot glue. What I don't have right now is any hot glue. And I'll go you one better. Not only do I have any hot glue, I don't even know where my very expensive hot glue gun is. You see, the wife decided that she needed to hot glue some things at some point in her life, and so she knows where the hot glue gun is, but I don't know where the hot glue gun is, which is the perfect thing and the exact thing that you want to attach the remaining wires to this. So since I don't have it, and apparently can't get it, even though I bought a very nice one, we are going to attempt being the operative word, to tack this guy in place for the time being with our CA glue. Now, surprisingly enough, and I know that no one will ever believe this, but just about the time I said that, the wife came out of the shower and around the corner and heard me talking about this, and this was my very nice, very expensive hot glue gun that I paid a lot of money for, and apparently the wife says it made great Christmas decorations. I can see that. It's also missing the foot off the front, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to die when I plug it in, but you know what? C'est la vie, I guess. So, what we have to do now is we know that our green wire and our orange wire both have to go to our switch. So we're going to cut them off roughly equally lengthwise, about like that. You want to leave yourself plenty of slack, and yes, it's going to be aggravating later, and yes, you're going to hate it, because you're going to have so much wire you're going to have to deal with. However, leaving extra makes it easy when you have to disassemble this, as you are subject to have to do, especially if it's your first one. You've never done one before. You're probably not going to get every connection right on the first try, and you're going to end up having to disassemble this once or twice. So, what we want to do is we want to tin these legs. Careful with our radioactive hot glue gun there. We're going to want to tin them. Now, it does not matter. It doesn't matter which wire you put on which leg of this. Literally makes no difference whatsoever. So you can do whichever one you just happen to prefer at that particular moment in your life. Will be completely and totally fine, I assure you. For me, I feel like this one should be green. And, well, I said I felt like it should be green. It may not want to be green, it looks like. Let's apply a little bit more solder. And this one, the other leg, needs to be orange. Again, it makes no difference which one's which. All this does is shunt or close orange to ground. That's all it does, and so it does not make any difference what color it is. We are going to do our best to apply the perfect amount of hot glue, which, let's all be honest, the perfect amount of hot glue is 0 hot glue. However, in this particular case, the perfect amount of hot glue is whatever it takes to properly hold this switch in here. However we can. So, we're going to let that dry right there for a second. I hate hot glue. I really, 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 really hate hot glue. There is simply no way to apply hot glue to anything in a way where it doesn't look trashy. Terrible. There just is no way to do it. It is a primitive product designed by Neanderthals. And, you know, I crack all the jokes, I say all the things, but at the end of the day, hot glue absolutely has its place. And used appropriately can be a good tool. Never mind all the stringies everywhere. I'm attempting to do this in the least offensive way that I can do it, and I'm afraid I'm just not being successful. Like waiting for hot glue to dry. Tell you what, let me pause this. Let me finish this hot glue stuff up, and I'll be right back. You guys don't want to sit here and watch glue dry. All right, we've got all the hot glue as done as it's going to get at this particular moment. So, let's finish sticking some of these buttons on. So this thing will become a functional controller once again. I've never really cared with all the Xbox controllers for the way that this one assembles with your top pieces. I've always found it a bit cumbersome and aggravating. What you want to be careful of is your wire routing at this particular point. Just make sure nothing's in the way of your battery terminals when you come down. There we go. That's about as in there as she's going to get. Cool. Alright, what's next? Let's put this guy in. Ideally, we would not be going through this right now. Ideally, the proper parts would have shown up on the Amazon truck where they were supposed to be, and we would have had them to actually finish this. Ideally, that's the solution that we wanted. That is not the solution we got. That's okay. You know, lemonade and lemons and all the rest of the stuff. The important part is that we got to finish this build up, and the parts theoretically will show up and arrive at some point in the near future, at which point I will just put them on the other one and we will call that done. So let's flip this guy back over, and I'm going to show you guys the last little bit of how you make this thing look as pristine and original as humanly possible. And I say original, you know, this is a modded controller and all the rest of the things. So it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be, you know, factory authentic and all the rest of it. But hopefully we can make it look pretty cool. The idea here is to gain a little bit of functionality out of this, to make it a little bit more fun to use. A little bit softer and a little bit smoother in the hands, to preserve it, obviously, because that's something we do, and especially on this channel, you know, we take care of our older consoles and things like that, and that's something we're always going to do. But modding things, you know, changing the LED lights out, or you know, in this case, doing that, and changing controller ports, and or you know, whatever it is that we just happen to be doing today to this controller. That can be a great part of building a console as well, or building things, and it's definitely something, you know, fun to do and interesting. So now we got a couple of choices to make. Before we get all the way into that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our sticker off of this one. We're going to finish peeling him up, because now that we can get a hold of him, he'll peel all the rest of the way off. And if you're gentle and you're slow, it'll come all the way off exactly like it's supposed to. We can put him right back inside of here. And you might say nobody be any of the wiser, but you know, obviously we'll know that it's It's changed a little bit up on us. So now we got a little decision to make. Do we go with these guys, or do we go with these textured grips that came with the controller back? I don't like these. The texture on them is rough and coarse and harsh. So we're not going to use that. We're going to go back with the original ones in this winter camo. We're going to grab a battery. So trigger stops, click them in. Trigger stops are definitely working, functioning properly. Let me grab a battery pack real quick. We'll toss one in here and see if we can't light it up, make it work. Turn all these lights off real quick. Now that super fast beeping you're seeing, of course right now it's a slow beep with our blue pulse. That super fast beeping you're seeing is the XMod chip telling us it is operational. So overall, I'd say we are about as complete as we can get. And I hope you guys enjoyed this build as much as I did. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon for more notifications, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about it. You like the colors? You like the control sticks? Do you like the blue we chose? Or do you want to see something else? Maybe next time instead of doing a controller mod, we'll do a full-on console build. I've got several of those sitting over in the corner, and I'm always game for doing some more. So if you guys like this, again, and I certainly hope you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.